Morning. Welcome to episode 4 of the Ford Courier build. Today we are going to put in a GM 1-wire alternator. Supposedly the part number that I got, I can't remember what it's actually for, but supposedly it's pretty much direct bolt-on. I might have to modify the bracket or add some washers or flip it upside down, or I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out. Here it is, the Wilson Tested Power Trusted Performance 90013125 remanufactured alternator. This box got wet, so it's kind of moldy now, but I don't think the alternator got wet. But if it did get a little wet, that's okay because it goes in an engine bay, so I think it'll be fine. And then I got positive and then Darth Vader cable. So that should be all I need. I should be able to just run this positive. That's probably too short. I'll probably have to go back to the parts store and get a longer one. And then it should ground to the, it should just ground to the bracket, but I figured why not help it out, give it some more dark side. Yeah, so we'll pull this out of the box. It probably looks like an alternator. I did look at it. So I think, so this says BAT. So I should be able to just mount this to the battery. And then I assume that this is ground. It's got the provisions for the other stuff, you know, whatever it does, but it supposedly doesn't need any of that. So we're gonna see. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Oh. Can I do this one-handed? I can. All right, sorry if it's dark. But yeah, so I'll get a light. We'll start digging in. This, it looks like I'm just gonna have to turn the bolt around. So the fellers on the internet that say that this is a direct swap, they appear to be correct. Yeah, so that's sweet. The pulley looks the same. It's just a little chunkier. It's pretty thick, but other than it being a little thicker, it looks like it's just gonna bolt right in. So, all right, let's do it. Just this 12mm bolt. I'm tightening it, not loosening it. So today, Sunday, I'm taking the kiddos to one of the guys that works at my tattoo shop. His son is turning 2. You could hear it in the background, but it's raining pretty good, and it's dark. It looks like it's about 9 p.m. but it's 9:37 a.m. So we're gonna try to get this done, I don't know, maybe we'll do something else. Maybe we'll do an oil change today. Just see, gonna see how long this takes me. I mean, it should only take me 10 minutes. I mean, I will maybe longer than 10 minutes. So I'm gonna take a picture. Well, here, hold on. Let me get you in here. Okay. So here's all of the original wiring. It does complicated alternator stuff. I'm not gonna cut any of these wires. Obviously, I'll just tuck them in, zip tie them to the rest of the harness or whatever, but I'm gonna pull these off and then mount this other alternator in. All this stuff only goes one way. What do we got going on here? Okay, so there's a nut holding this on. This is weird. Maybe it's not weird. All right, well, let me figure this out, because I gotta get this little clampy boot off of here. Yep, 8mm. Oh, there's like a double nut situation. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I did some tattoos yesterday. Took my son to a birthday party. It was ice cream themed. There was the grandpa of the son. I introduced myself. Well, he introduced himself to me. Well, he was just like, "Hello, you know, you're his dad," and I was like, "Yeah, hi, my name's Clint," and he was like, "Clint? That's my name." So he and I both got a kick out of the fact that we were both named Clint. You don't run into too many Clints. Well, and then my actual name is Clinton, and his name was Clinton too, and you don't really run into too many Clintons. I just got a little sparky spark off of something, so I'm gonna pull this negative battery cable off. I actually tightened that, which is super weird because I never do that usually, but I'm gonna pull this off so I don't get any bad things to happen over here. Get these wires out of the way. Can tuck them up in here. Cleans everything up a little bit. Here, while I'm over here, pull this off, tuck it through here. I wish this wire wasn't as long as it is, but that's okay. That's what happens when you use wires off of something that it's not for. So we're pretty much just finger tight. We got a bolt down here. Yeah, so it's swivels off of this. This might be a little different. You're not gonna be able to see it yet, but you'll see it in a second. I realized this swivels off the bottom. So I'm gonna have to get this off before I can figure this out. So I'll pull the alternator the rest of the way off, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Oh, I gotta hold on to the other end. Duh. Now I'm tightening it, I think. Wow. There we go. Okay. This should just pop off of here. Oh, well, if I remove this nut the rest of the way, bolt. I feel like when I'm filming myself, I don't know what anything's called, and I don't know what to do with my hands. Worse than I already don't know. Alternator core. I got the new alternator. So in theory, well, all right. Might have to do some fabrication here. So, if I get the top so it doesn't fit, all right, let me think about this before I go off doing something stupid. There's a couple problems. I'm not sure how well you can see what's going on, but so I can get this to line up, but then it smashes into the bottom bracket. I might be able to cut this back or another. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the move, is to cut this back, the width, cut the bottom bracket off the width of this. I think that's going to be the move. Let me fiddle around a little bit and try to mock this up off camera, and then okay, great, I dropped that. Yeah, okay. This seems to be a good angle to show you guys what's going on. So this almost fits, but this does a little whoop-de-doo. I think if I grind that down, problem one will be solved, because I can almost get this threaded, but there's just not quite enough room. And then once I get this on, I can figure out how much of this bottom bracket I'm gonna need to chop off. But it looks like, so what I'll do is I'll hang it, I'll mount it off the top bracket, get it square, make sure the belt fits, and then I'll use that location to put a scribe on this. I'll pull this off, put it on the vise, eyeball destroyer wheel it off, and then we should be good to go. I think I remember, so there's a Ford Courier Nation Facebook group, and I screenshotted a couple of the posts about this alternator swap, and I think I remember a few people saying they had to grind off like basically like a little tab off this top mounting bracket. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use a bench grinder, I think, and then I'll probably go ahead and paint this and then not let it dry and then do it so I ruin the paint. While you're in here, you might as You might as well, you know. I think I'm gonna take off this little, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take off this spark plug holder because these spark plugs are too short to go in it anyway. So I might as well do that while I'm in here as well. And then, what I think I'll do is go ahead and loosen these two bolts. Maybe. I don't know. No, I'm not going to do that yet. Alright, I'm going to just stick this bolt back in here, I think. Looks pretty neat. I mean, the alternator's got to go back in, but... yeah, I think bolt back in looks a little nicer. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and remove this one too. I'm sure it's a different size nut for no reason. Yeah, it's like a 15 or something. Yep. Another thing we're going to explore here in a second is this. I think this is the PCV. Maybe. It explode. So we'll address that here in a situation. I noticed this was hanging out of this, and there's a washer in there. This PCV, he explode. I think this is a standard size bolt. Ish. This is a 15. Oh, there we go. Well, yeah, this has got to be. Yep. Standard size bolt. Nut bolt. It's 9/16. The first 9/16 that I grabbed. It's like some weird... My dad gave me a bunch of tools when I was like 18. That looks like... This looks like... Does anybody know what that says? Plum, PL upside down triangle MB, but then on the back it says manufactured USA 3030. Kind of a weird tool. Alright, we're gonna clean this up a little bit and then grind this little loop-de-doo off of here. I said I was gonna paint it. I'm not, because I just wanted... I want this video to not just be me painting stuff. Alright. I don't have very much in terms of a workspace here. So I'm gonna get all this stuff off the bench so it doesn't just fall off from the vibratory action of the Harbor Freight Central Machinery 6-inch bench grinder with light. Here we go. Alright, I didn't do a whole lot, but I'm going to test fit this first. I don't want to do too much, obviously. Alright, I got 2 of them finger tight. I think that'll give me enough room to kind of see what's going on, if I need to keep grinding or not. I don't think I'm gonna have... I still don't think I'm gonna have any room to wiggle wobble it, but maybe I will. So maybe I should cut before I just start going ham. Maybe I should go ahead and scribe this bottom bracket. Bumped the camera. Maybe I should go ahead and scribe this bottom bracket. No. I think I need to take more off regardless. Okay. So I think I am going to just chop some of this off with an angle grinder. I need to go way further this way, so I'm not gonna need a lot of this. Another thing I could do if I really needed to is chop it off, and then if I needed to weld like a little tab, like a little stoppy tabby thing in, I could do that too. So yeah. All right, I made a little mark on this with the screwdriver, so I'm gonna chop this too. Yeah. Well, here goes nothing. These bolts were torqued pretty darn good. I'm a little worried about this concept because this is flat, so it's gonna get rid of this face, but I guess it's gonna just replace it with the new face. So like that, the chunk, the bracket, the tab, whatever, on the new alternator, yeah, should be fine. I'm also not very excited about cutting this because it's cast iron. But I guess smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. So gotta make the sea rough, I guess, to sail better. Yeah, that'll work great. Use a black Sharpie on a piece of greasy cast iron. All right, we got it up in the vise. Got my cut line. Here we go. Safety first. Helps if you plug it in the grinder. All right. I mean, it's not the best cut in the world, but it's definitely not the worst either. The old cast iron cut pretty easy. It's not super straight, so I'm gonna try to flatten it out a little bit. All right, I took it over to the old sanding disc. It's not perfect, but we'll try it. If I need to clean it up a little bit more, I'll do that after the fact. But let's test fit it back up and see what happens. Hopefully this just works. Wouldn't that be cool? Probably not, but it'd be cool if it did. All right. Get this guy back on here. Just gonna finger tighten it to mock it up. Okay, great. Drop that locking nut. Okay, actually didn't drop it under the truck. So we'll just get 2 of these in here kind of tight with the fingies. And then we'll see if we're close. And then we will adjust our technique to accomplish our goals. You can do anything you set your mind to, but you might fail a lot. Get this bracket back on. Kind of. I mean, I think this is gonna work. What do you think? Comment down below whether or not this will work. I think we're close. I think I gotta take a little bit more off of this, and then I think I might have to take a little bit more off of this, but I need to do this first because the body of the alternator, the casting, doesn't have enough clearance. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take a little bit off of both of them. I'm gonna do this one first, and then I'll bring you back in. Okay, let's see if that helps. Yeah. So there's the belt. It looks pretty straight. Obviously there's not tension on it yet, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna pull these brackets off and just sand a little bit more down off of both of them. Might pull out the flappy disc instead of using my little Pittsburgh 1x30 belt and 5-inch disc combination sander. My Flappy Bird here is very worn out, but it's the only one I have, so.
One minute, 37 seconds later.
It looks like a little whale. There's his eye and there's his nose. Got everything kind of sort of tight-ish. So I'm gonna try a different route here. I'm gonna do the bottom first, so it stays stable. You can probably see what I did. I don't know, I cut 2 inches or so off of that. Looks like I need to take a little bit more off the top. All right. Well, I got to thinking, and instead of taking any more off of this, I think I might just waller these holes out a little bit. That way I can, you know, boop it up a little bit. I think that's the move. I'm gonna waller these holes out a little bit and then stick it back on there. Deburr these holes a little bit. I used to have this really nice deburring tool and I don't know where it went. This should work. And then we will do the wiring, which should, like I said, just be a ground and the positive to the battery, and that should be the end of it. I just don't know if my positive cable is going to be long enough, so we might have to go get a longer one. And then obviously figuring out like how to route that so it doesn't look like trash. Okay, I got it kind of ish. I'm gonna try to just tighten this bolt, and then you can't really see it right now, but I've got a little bit of wiggle room on this bracket, so I'm gonna try to tighten this bolt and sort of just see what happens. I think I might be able to just bend this tab up because there's quite a bit of like wiggle room in the where the bolt is sitting. So let's get this tightened up and just sort of see what happens. Is this a 13 millimeter? I have a 12 and a 14 over here, but no 13. All right, let's see what happens. Well, that's not really gonna work. I need a different size extension. Okay, the only other thing I'm gonna do before we move on is I'm just gonna take a pair of pliers and I'm gonna bend this tab up a little bit. Yeah, The bolt should still slide through and everything. If it doesn't, I can kind of force it. But you noticed I was having to like beat on it to move the alternator aft and fro, starboard and port side. So that should take care of that. I'm gonna put a washer in here and yeah. All right, one final test fit before we gotta loosen that a little bit. I don't know if beating on an alternator is the best idea. All right, let's see if the belt sits kind of ish. Ugh. Okay, battery turned off, battery died. That's the first time that's happened. So I was saying, I'm not sure if beating on an alternator is the best idea. Well, I didn't really test fit this very good, now did I? So I tightened up the bottom, and that really threw this thing for a number. So that's, looks like I gotta cut more off the bottom, which is fine, but it seems weird. Let's do some more digging. All right, I made a new mark with a file, so I'm gonna cut that. All right, let's see if this works. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this, just so if it works, I don't have to re-tighten it. And then I also think that that will give us a better idea as to whether or not we did it correctly. All right, I got ye old alternator here. Well, ye new alternator. Let's see if it works. Oh, okay, so new problem. I'm gonna have to pack this with washers because that thread doesn't reach. So let me grab a stack of washers. All right, I got my washer stack. Let's see if this thing works. Well, I think we're good. Oh yeah, ow. Well, I just cut my thumb, so that's cool. Couldn't find a Band-Aid, so I just put a little tape on it for a second. But okay, yeah, we're good. We did it. So now, we're actually, I think I'm gonna have to add a couple more washers, maybe. Yeah, because now we're sitting, I might need to add a washer or two down here too, because now we're sitting a little, well, yeah, I think I just need to do another washer up here because we're not tight yet and we're back just a hair. So I added another copper washer up here. You can't see it, but I added one this side. This belt, I think it'll be all right. Obviously, we'll find out, won't we? But looks good-ish to me. I'm gonna tighten everything up. We'll do the wiring. Ugh. Okay, that seems tight enough. Cool. Let's just go ahead and run this positive. See if that works first, and then, or I guess we'll just run both. We'll run the ground and the positive. All right, we're not even close to length. So I gotta run to the store, get a longer positive battery cable. Got about 20 minutes here. So I got a 35-inch and a 45-inch cable. See which one works the best. And then I'll just return the other one. And then since I've only got a few minutes, I am just going to put the positive on, test the voltage, and then I'll run a ground. I mean, it should be just grounded to the block. I don't love this, but we'll figure that out later. Okay, let's clear my tools. See if this thing works. I'll grab a voltage. I'll grab a digital meter and see what the battery is sitting at, and then we'll fire it up. Okay. Not sure if you can see that or not. We got 12.77 volts. Belt could probably be tightened up a little bit more, but that's okay. Let's see what happens. That sounded weird. Yeah, I had the belt on, stupid. 1 second. But I had it on the harmonic balancer, stupid. So it was putting weird tension on the motor, engine, whatever. Motor mounts, engine mounts, motor, engine, it doesn't matter. Let's try it again. All right, it should just fire right up now. I don't like that. Well, I'm gonna have to figure this out tomorrow. I don't know if it's putting weird tension on it because the belt's weird. I mean, it doesn't feel any harder to turn than it did. So, I mean, I can't really see any other problem. Maybe I accidentally oh, this PCV valve vacuum leak might be a problem. All right, let's try that. Hold on. All right, I decided to try it one more time before I went inside, and I don't know if you can see that, but 14.58, so we did it. The belt looks good. I don't hear any squealing or whining. So I don't know if, I think maybe there was a vacuum leak. I'll replace that PCB tomorrow or put it back together. I think that's only like a $5 part, so. Alright, it's tomorrow and I got a new PCV valve. We're gonna put that in real quick. And then I think I'm just gonna make sure all that suspension stuff I did in the last episode is torqued down good, and then I think I'm just gonna take this thing for a little drive. Me and the family are going on a camping trip tomorrow out at my dad's farm. It's about 4 hours away, near Brookville, Indiana, if anybody knows where that is. But yeah, so I think this will be it for this week. Excited to get this video out, see what you guys think. Hopefully, if somebody else has got one of these Couriers and they want to do this, whether they need to do an alternator new alternator, or they just want to swap it. This is way higher amperage. I mean, I'm not really planning, I'll probably put a radio in this eventually, but I'm not really planning on running anything crazy. But yeah, cool little project. I definitely think it makes the truck better. So yeah, I'm gonna install this, fire it up, and then take it for a little drive. I was looking for some hose clamps, but couldn't really find any. So this old PCV, you'll see it here in a second. This old PCV caved in on itself. It exploded. There's the old one. There's the new one. They're identical-ish. So let me get a screwdriver. Okay, we're back with a set of needle nose. So the inside of, yeah, here we go. There's a piece of the PCV. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull this hose off. I think there's other pieces of this inside of here. Getting to it sucks. Oh, there we go. Okay, there it is. I would like to replace this hose eventually, but not really too much of a problem right now. This is broken, so I hope it didn't suck this plastic into the intake, but I think that it did, but we're just gonna pretend that we don't know that. So I am gonna put, well, let's see. I can feel the hole. Man, I know why they don't have a hose clamp on that now. Yeah, yesterday, when this thing was having a hard time starting, I think part of it was this vacuum leak that's currently happening. Well, would be happening if I tried to start the truck right now. I'm sure it's really exciting watching me try to put this in here. This is awful. Ooh, something bad happened. What happened? Wow, okay, so the craziest thing, there was a zap a second ago. My hands grounded to the block, and my cheap $20 Amazon watch touched this, and it sent. Yeah, so that was a little scary. I mean, nothing bad happened, but I unplugged the positive. So yeah, I was the ground, and broke ground a little bit, and it got a little scary. I don't like that. All right, you can't see anything, but I was able to get a hose clamp on that hose. So I'll bet I was getting a vacuum leak, at least intermittently, off of this PCV hose. But I got it in there. Yeah, I had to squeeze this little guy in here. So there's a close-up of me becoming the ground. Well, my watch. So I'm gonna move. I don't want this to ever, I don't even want this wire to touch this, so I'm gonna it over here. I keep getting scared that that's gonna happen, but I know it's actually not going to happen. Oh, great. Getting this in here sucks. Cool. I'll probably have to loosen this hose clamp a little bit. Maybe. Yeah. I can actually see this one. It's just right there. All right, I am going to move. You'll see it here in a second. You might be able to see what I'm doing. I just want to make sure this never touches anything. So I think that works. All right, I'm gonna put this thing back on here. We'll start it up, make sure everything works the way that it should. All right, let's move all of our tools. Let's fire this thing up. I'm gonna give it a couple hand pumps. Alright, it fired right up. Let's test voltage again. So I took it around the block, and then I kind of weaseled around town a little bit. It feels way better with all that steering, all the steering components that we replaced, and yeah, I'm really happy with that alternator. So yeah, pretty stoked on the progress on this truck. I think next week I'm gonna do an oil change, and then probably a transmission, not a flush, but a drain and fill. So we'll do that. Transmission shifts pretty good, but if you really feed it all the onions, it kind of doesn't feel like it's shifting at the right shift points. I mean, that could be some other stuff. That could also just be the fact that this is a 40-year-old truck. But I don't think it would hurt. So yeah, next week we'll do oil change, transmission, drain and fill. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing. Check us out on Instagram, check us out on Patreon, and check out the website. Thanks so much. Keep on figuring it out.